Welcome back. This is Aretha in New York City. I hope you can hear me. You're seeing the Sankofa bird, and the word Sankofa comes from West Africa, and it means go back and take that which is at risk of being left behind. What is at risk of being left behind? Our history. So I hinted on the last video that I'd be talking about Nat Turner. It appears that rebellion was in the air in the 1800s. When Sam Sharpe was planning his labor strike in Jamaica, in the US, Nat Turner was making his plan in Virginia. Nathaniel Nat Turner was born a year before Sam Sharpe on October 2nd, 1800. His mother's name was Nancy, but the identity of his father was unknown. Turner lived the same number of years as Sam Sharpe, 31. In the year of his death, Turner was described as a short, stout, powerfully built person of dark mixed complexion and strongly marked African features, with a face full of expression and resolution. According to Turner, both his mother and his grandmother believed he had a prophetic gift and was intended for some great purpose. Turner was born into slavery on the Virginia plantation of Benjamin Turner, and like Sam Sharpe, his enslavers permitted him to learn how to read, write, and study the Christian religion. He spent much of his time reading the Bible, praying, and fasting. He was sold away from his family 3 times in his childhood. More trauma on the trauma of slavery. In 1821, at the age of 21, he ran away from a plantation and spent 30 days hiding in the woods. He returned because of what he believed was a sign from God. He became a passionate preacher and a leader of enslaved Africans on Benjamin Turner's plantation and in the Southampton County neighborhood. He believed he was chosen by God to lead his people out of bondage. The insurrection. The revolt was planned over a 6-month period starting in February of 1831, and the planning team was comprised of Nat Turner, Hark Moore, Henry Porter, Nelson Edwards, Sam Francis, Will Francis, and Jack Reese. Turner believed in signs and divine voices and interpreted the eclipse of the sun on August 7, 1831, as a sign to commence the insurrection. However, this plan was aborted and rescheduled for August 21, 1831 at 2 a.m. Turner, with the assistance of 75 other enslaved people, killed an estimated 55 white people, men, women, and children. Turner's planned destination was the county seat of Jerusalem, where he intended to take over the armory, continue fighting, but this attempt was thwarted by a group of white men at a plantation near Jerusalem. Turner escaped and hid nearby for 6 weeks. He was found, and later that year, on November 11th, 1831, he and 16 of his followers were hung in Jerusalem, Virginia. He saw the end. The short-term outcome of this insurrection was harsher laws against enslaved people. The longer-term achievement was a deepening of this division between the slaveholders and the free soilers. The free soilers was an anti-slavery political party. And this would also set the stage for the Civil War, this kind of division. The Civil War, which inevitably led to the abolition of slavery. There are 2 primary criticisms of Nat Turner and his insurrection. The first one is that Turner's detractors dismiss him as a misguided religious fanatic. I've said before that people who do not cultivate their spiritual intelligence often negate the spiritual intelligence of others. But more importantly, I would argue that Turner followed the exact type of Christianities his enslavers practice. He was following the exact model of Christianity that was established by white Christians in America. White oppressor Christianity taught that the US, a country not mentioned in the Bible, had the manifest destiny of stealing the land of the indigenous people through cultural and physical genocide and environmental terrorism. White oppressor Christianity said it was God ordained to commit genocide against African peoples, destroy their families, cultures, and steal their labor. So Nat Turner's vision about a God who told him to kill his white oppressors to gain freedom from their oppression was in line with that kind of theology. But his theology was just a bit more just because it was an attempt at self-liberation from oppression. It is what Malcolm X called chickens coming home to roost. Nat Turner's version of Christianity was as American and Christian as the KKK. Second, detractors question whether it is moral to use violence to repel one's oppressors. And I think this question is immoral and comes from a place of white lives mattering more than other lives. As you can see in my photographs, we have archived documentation of the 55 white people who lost their lives during the insurrection. We only have estimates of how many Black people were massacred by the white mob. The estimate is between 100 and 200. Further, millions of Africans lost their lives to the genocide of Western slavery, and only 55 people lost their lives to Nat Turner. Christian teachings are instructive here. Jesus said, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." If there had been no slavery, there would not have been an insurrection. Morality should always begin with the oppressors. Don't start injustice, and there will be no need for people to resist it. And Jesus also said, "Provocation leads to wrath, but woe be unto the one who provokes." Nat Turner and his followers' actions were a cry for help, and it came from a people who were sorely provoked by the injustices of slavery. Thank you for listening.